what's going on, guys? It's Wick. Welcome to the Outrank Podcast. As usual, joined by Rafael Rhodes, Steve Lewis. They're here. And today we have a special guest, former law enforcement, a military spouse, probably the hardest job in the military, especially when you're married to Bobby Rhodes. But we'll get to that in a minute. Law enforcement professional, all-around great individual. Miss Amber Rhodes is joining us today. Welcome to the show, Amber.
Thank you.
How are you?
All right.
I'm good. It's nice to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you, and trust me, we're going to get into a lot of the behind-the-scenes intricacies of Rafael Rhodes, brought to us by the subject matter expert herself. But as we get started, hey, welcome to the show. Tell us about yourself.
We're in Las Vegas, Nevada. I did over 7 years in law enforcement over there, and now have one of the best jobs in the world in a corporate setting. So I get to work from home and travel a little bit. And still married to my husband after 10 years. So it's been a journey.
Well, I think that's
she's obligated to say that. She's obligated to say that.
No free ads. No free ads.
I don't think she's obligated to say anything.
No. Yeah, if anything, I think you're obligated to allow her to say that.
Absolutely.
And I think there better be a lot of chores getting done here shortly, because she talks so highly about you. But we'll see how long that lasts as we get through this episode.
I don't know about him doing any chores, by the way. So
yeah,
I knew it. We'll see.
I knew it. I remember back in the day, it was hard just to get him to clean his own kennel. I had to do it for him all the time. No, I'm kidding. So, awesome coming from a world of experience. I'm sure your journey is amazing. I can't wait to dive into it. So with that said, let's go to Lewis first. You can sit this one out for a little bit, Raf.
Go ahead.
All right. So you were born in Vegas. What was it like growing up in Las Vegas?
So Vegas has changed a lot. So when I was growing up, the population was about 400,000 people, and it's grown to about over 3 million people now. So growing up then was like a small town feel. I grew up on the edge of Las Vegas where there was nothing, and just grew up with my grandparents, and my dad raised me, and it was a pretty nice little town to me at the time, so it was nice.
Nice.
Okay. How often do you visit now?
Oh, go ahead. Wait.
Sorry, how often do you visit now?
Not often, to be honest with you. Going back to Vegas is you don't want to go to the Strip, when you're from Vegas. So going back is just to visit family. So we go back and visit our grandparents and my dad, and just to visit family. So nothing to do with the Strip.
Okay. Sorry to cut you off there, Lou. I'll let you get back at it.
All right. No, you're good. So you mentioned you were raised by your dad. So single parent, I take it?
No, so what got me into law enforcement really is my mom wasn't an active part of my life. I chose law enforcement for a personal reason, but he was a single parent, and then my grandparents kind of stepped in and helped raise me as well. So, just them and my dad helped raise me along the way, and if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be the person I am today.
Amen to that.
That's awesome.
I guess we could kick one over. I guess we can kick one over to Raf, huh?
Yeah.
So growing up it's not every time that you hear somebody say that they're born and raised in Vegas and they grew up there, because Vegas is a very transient city. How is the education system out there for you? I mean, I worked in the education system for a little bit as a school police officer, you know that. But how was it for you as you were growing up and going through school? What kind of student were you?
So I grew up in a very strict household, so it was just expected, just my grandparents being the older generation that they are, to get your grades done, make sure that you have good grades. But there was no real follow-up of, parents now want to, kind of help your kids through that educational process. But I was a good student. I was expected to be a good student, but the education in Vegas isn't the best. 50th in the country. Depending on the year, sometimes go back between 48th and 50th in the country. But I did make it into high school and to a performing arts high school, what they call a magnet program. You have to be above a C average, which isn't raising the bar too high out in Vegas.
Well, I think it's not raising the
But
bar too high on this
it was,
podcast either.
um, yeah. So, it was, you got a little bit of a better opportunity going to those magnet programs out in Vegas. So I think that gave me a little bit of an edge. Even though I wanted to go into law enforcement, I did play the piano. I was musically inclined. So I just wanted a better opportunity going to those educational programs for myself. And that helped me a lot, I would say.
Gotta ask, do you still play?
I don't have a piano currently, but I have picked it up recently, like maybe 5 or so years ago. I played for my husband, and we want to get one. So
Maybe you can start off with a keyboard a little bit smaller.
yeah, I know. I just don't like the feeling of those keyboards compared to a real piano, but
Oh, true. Very true.
yeah.
I say if you guys end up on American Idol, we get a kickback to the show.
Absolutely.
Free promotion.
We'll have shirts made.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah. It'll say roadies for the roads.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
Or you're my roadie.
You know what? Yeah, he's not musically inclined at all, so all the kickback will go to me, but it's fine.
Well, they know.
As it
They've
should
heard me
be.
sing.
Even if he did get a kickback, it's yours anyways.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Coming from a financial advisor. Coming from a financial advisor, he knows. He played the game.
And a husband, so I know.
Yeah, true.
So Las Vegas, born and raised, ended up in a magnet school. You already told us that your dad was kind of, or your mom not being in your life, your dad was kind of the single parent, pushed you into law enforcement or motivated you to go into law enforcement rather. So why the military?
Well, I went into law enforcement. Well, I kind of, you have to wait till you're 21. So I went into retail for a while. I ended up having my son very young. I had him at 18 years old. That kept me motivated to push myself even further. I had to provide for a child at 18 years old. So I had to provide very young. I had no choice. So I became a manager of a retail store, almost became a store manager. I was an assistant manager. And then after that, I decided I was going to go into law enforcement because that's what I wanted to do. So the minute I hit 21, that's where I is in the academy. And I was there. I knew that it was going to be hard for my kid, but I knew that it was going to be the best thing for my family at the time.
Absolutely. Lou, what you got, bub?
All right. So I think most of us can imagine that Vegas is a unique place in the country. I'm sure most of us have seen some cops episodes or some sort of episodes. So what was it like being law enforcement in Las Vegas from your mouth?
That's a great question. You'll see you'd see a little bit of everything. I would say that, you have like the biggest police departments in the country. You have New York, you have Los Angeles, you have all these other places. And I think Vegas in itself stacks up with these other agencies where you're just seeing everything all at the same time. And you might have 30 calls holding in the queue at one time while you might be dealing with a murder or robberies coming out. You might be dealing with a child death. You might be dealing with something else. And right when you're done with that, you're going on to the next call. Because there's no time for you to sit there and process what you just dealt with to go on, because the job needs to get done, the mission needs to get done. So that's what, it's kind of like being a cop in Vegas. If you're working a beat on the Strip, it's a little bit different. You might see a little bit of a different side and aspect, but for the majority of the outside of the city, that's what you're gonna see.
Interesting. Okay.
So I got a question about the policing in Vegas from your perspective as well, because you do have a lot of transient individuals and people who go there on vacation, people who go and visit. Does that add to the uniqueness as far as the level of calls and the type of calls you would get as a law enforcement officer?
So, I would say dependent upon where you are in the city. And it doesn't always necessarily mean that either, because you could have family gatherings where people are visiting family and they just went a little too wild, and they're having family gathering and they're drunk or something like that, but not to the extent where you have violent crime. Um, that is to the extent of the tourism. In my perspective, it could be you could ask another officer and they could have a totally different perspective that worked a different side of the city. I dealt with it more on like the DUI aspect, or the alcohol that kind of brings into the city more as with the tourism and transient, or the homeless population.
Gotcha. Looks like Wick dropped off for a second. So, all right. So, did you do any specialty jobs within the department, or just kind of more beat cop, if you will?
So there was a time that I was working with the gang task force for a little bit. And it's really unique because I took that upon myself when I was in patrol to go ahead and specialize in that area, because I found it interesting how gangs works in Vegas. Like most of the gangs flood in from California when you're working with Vegas, and Rafael knows this
So
as
does the
well.
population.
Most of the gangs are juveniles in Vegas. They create their own names. They might have a different block that day. All you need for a gang is 3 or more people. So we're constantly chasing a new gang out in Vegas. And, you still have your older gang populations out there. You're always going to have your 18th Street. You're always going to have your GPK. You're always going to have those type of gangs. But those gangs tend to not rival as much. I'm not going to say specifically, your younger gangs tend to rival more, and that's where most of your violent crime comes from. And I just took a lot of interest in that at the time. And especially working with Raphael, we would have some crossover at sometimes because we used our school resource officers a lot, because these gangs translated into the school system. And it's sad to see because these kids are bringing guns into schools, and they're bringing that crime out into after school. And these retaliations are happening out into the communities. So we would leverage school police a lot. And they became, his partners would become a lot of my good friends later on. So it was a really unique experience later on in my career.
Awesome. Well, before we get to the eventual event of you meeting Raph, I have a couple of, I guess, more serious questions. So, what challenges did you face being a female in law enforcement?
A lot. There was, I want to say, I don't know the exact percentage, but I want to say there's around 7 to 10% of female law enforcement officers in the agency that I was in. And when you're working with a male dominated career field, you're going to face those challenges. And it's hard to overcome them, but you just do the best that you can. Because one of my best partners that I ended up working with, and I think this is a good example of how I can explain this the best coming from my side, is I had best partner ever. He later told me apprehensively, he says, I felt like you kind of needed to prove yourself to me. And I said, well, why is that? And he's like, well, I just didn't know if you can handle yourself. And I was like, well, why? And he's like, well, you are a girl. And I was like, okay, well, what does that have to do with anything? And he's like, well, some girls, they're willing to get in there, they're willing to do the work, and some females, they're not willing to get into the fight. And he's like, but now that I know that you're willing to get into the fight, he's like, you're the best partner I've ever had, and that'll never change. And on the opposite end, sometimes, and it's not all officers, I won't say that, and I won't speak for all male officers, but for some male officers, it's just like, hey, we're going into this house together, we're ready to go. And you don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to have that it's just like, hey bro, we're going in. We're ready to go. So, I thought it was an interesting thing that he said to me, but it brought a lot of perspective in a way that, I do need to prove myself in a way, but that's not always a bad thing. It brought adversity to me, and, I challenged that adversity, and I try to always prove myself to my squads. I don't think that stigma of female law enforcement officers is always going to go away. I think eventually maybe the more female cops that we have that are willing to go into the fight and do everything that they're supposed to do out there, it will go away. And I think that we should have more female officers out there.
Awesome. All right, one more serious question. What was it like raising a child as a police officer?
My older child took it a little bit better. My younger child, I was so invested in my job at the time. I worked graveyard for the first 5 years of my career that, unfortunately, I don't remember the first 3-4 years of his life. And ultimately, one of the reasons I decided to leave the PD because I needed more time with my kids. Because I looked back upon my family and I just thought to myself, I'm like, I don't remember the first word. I don't remember, the first step, because my grandparents were either taking care of them, my husband's mom was taking care of them. And unfortunately, it's not unfortunate because he became very close with my husband's mom, but at the same time, he became so attached to her that, she's remembering all these events and I wasn't. So it was really hard at that time that I was putting so much investment into my career and not enough investment into my family.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. Wick, Rhodes, what you got?
Yeah, that's got to be one of the tough things, right? And I think, you're passionate about a job. I should stop calling them gigs, right? Because we're not musicians yet. But you're passionate about it. And I like how I lump me in there too. Like I'm going to be in the band.
You are in the band, bro. You're a roadie.
Sweet. As long as we don't have to dance, I got a bad lower back. But no, I think that's something.
Same.
And these, we're not dropping it like it's hot. We might bend it slowly, just not very lowly. But no, I think that's one of the things with these jobs. Sorry.
You're full of jokes, bro. You got it. You're good.
I love it. Let's go.
Busted can of biscuits, So, no, I think that's one of the things you're so passionate about a job, right? But also you're passionate about being a parent. You love your kids and, you sacrifice a lot and, you can't make up for that lost time. So you're kind of put between a rock and a hard place. And I know that from experience, but do you ever look back and would do it differently, or are you kind of happy with the trajectory and now you're on the right path and you've kind of been able to form a better bond with the kids? Maybe that's a stupid question, I don't know.
I don't think it's a stupid question at all, because I don't think I would do anything differently, actually, because all the decisions that I ended up making led me to where I am today. Like I said, I feel like I have the best job in the world, and sometimes people look at me like I'm crazy when I say that, and they like they look at me like, are you being serious? And I tell them yes all the time. I have the best job in the world now. But they're like, well, you were an officer before. And I'm like, I'd had that part of my life already. And I'm okay where it ended. I'm okay where it stopped. I didn't have to do 33 years, which is the retirement age for what agency I worked for. I didn't have to do the 33 years to be confident of where I left. I did my time. I felt like I left when it was right for me. And now I get to still see my kids grow up and have a great work-life balance and see them now and have used those skills of the law enforcement to now get the job that I have now. So I don't think I would have done anything differently at all.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things that, me as, recently retired and looking back over my career at those tough times and those hard decisions you had to make as it pertained to family. Um, yeah, we wouldn't have the life we have now. I wouldn't have the appreciation for the life that I have now without those sacrifices and those struggles. So, and I think it's awesome, and I'm not trying to jump ahead too far. Being a military spouse too, right? You understand better than anybody what Rafael had to put up with. I hate calling you Rafael, by the way. I'm just saying, I feel like a Ninja Turtle, and it's weird.
It's you can still call me Bobby because that's what you've always called me, Wick.
Good. Yeah. So you have not appreciation, but an understanding of what Bobby's going through. And maybe sometimes he's going to hit those crossroads in his own career trajectory. So, I'm sure that's been a huge benefit to have you in his corner as he goes after some of those obstacles and struggles mentally and emotionally. So I think that's awesome. And thank you. But 33 years? Nah, fuck that. Nope. And I know we got a lag.
Could you imagine I was going to say, could you imagine you gave up 20 years already and then having to give up another 33 to get another retirement?
Yeah, I'm cool,
nope.
man.
Mm-mm.
I'm good.
Nope,
And
mm-mm.
we were talking before the show for those of you that are listening out there and on Facebook, if you've subscribed and thumbs up already, and on YouTube you're seeing this. We were talking before the show, and I was like, "Oh, she's married to Bobby. Obviously, she makes poor decisions." I take that back. It was all in jest to begin with, but I take that back. You sound like you got a pretty good head on your shoulders, and he needs that in his corner too. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you I'm proud of you. So let's keep digging.
I think Lou, you get the next question, Lou, because I think the Nowicki kind of buzzed out a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we've talked a lot about your life. Well, I say a lot. We've talked a little bit about your life with Bobby. So let's get to that. How did you two meet?
So,
It's
Was
a
it
tale as old as
whimsical and
time.
charming?
The funnier the better.
do you want the honest answer or do you want the
Yes.
not honest answer? Because I could give you like a real. I could give you.
Well, I know what we want. What do you
Not
want
what
to
you
tell
told
everybody?
your parents. We want the unfiltered. I found this dude in a bathroom at a
Yeah.
Buffalo Wild Wings, ass crack hanging out, vomiting. And I was like, he's the one.
Okay, well, I'm afraid of the people that, are on my Facebook, but I will give you the unfiltered version. So I did meet him online. But how it kind of went down is he came over to my apartment and no, nothing happened. This is not where it's going. I just wanted to meet him to make sure, he wasn't like a catfish or something. And he shows up in Timberland boots. And I was like, oh my
At least
gosh,
it wasn't
this guy really
Crocs.
wears Timberland boots. Well, Crocs weren't out at the time. So I think he probably would have worn Crocs.
Yeah. Those little holes are for your
So he
dignity to
shows
seep out.
up and his hair was like completely bald. And I was like a little concerned. I was like, well, maybe he doesn't grow hair. I mean, that's okay, but like some people don't grow hair but I was a little bit
He's got
I was a little bit younger at
alopecia.
the time. Yeah, I was like a little concerned. So but I was like, but he's really nice, so maybe I'll see him again, but I'm not sure at this point. And I was like, okay, I'll give it like 10 minutes. I judged him out and I was like, all right, well, I gotta go. So I'll see you on the next one. And I walked him to his car. It was 10 minutes. I was like, I don't know if I'll see that guy again, but we'll see how that goes. So anyways, my car ends up breaking down. And I was like, I need a ride to work. And the only person I could call was Bobby.
Oh.
So I was like,
Oh, of all people, you had to rely on him.
Hold on. So if I can surmise this
disaster.
story so far, right? So he showed up and he was a solid, we'll get what town did this happen in?
this was in Vegas.
Okay, so
News
he's a
station.
Vegas
A
2.5.
4 or 5. Okay.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say a
well,
Vegas 2.5.
well, his outfit was like, his outfit was like a 2.
His hair was a 0.
The hair was a
the hair
zero.
was. I didn't think he could grow hair, but he had a really nice face and a really nice,
Like
and so
punchable.
I was,
Like punchable.
and so like I said, nothing happened. I'm not saying anything happened between it. He was
Well,
in my house for 10 minutes.
thank God.
Yeah.
So your first date was only 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes at an apartment. And so, but
He didn't have very long to screw it up, did he?
No, not at all. And so I just want to make sure he wasn't a catfish, because he had like one profile picture, and his profile picture was one of him in the military with his uniform on. He had a hat on.
Of course it was.
He had his dog by his side. He was really like looking good, and I was like, okay, well then he showed up, and I was like,
Yeah, that's not you.
This
I
dude,
was
like, look at this thirsty
Right.
ad.
so. Anyways, I needed the ride to work, but then he comes and he shows up, and he brings
So he came to the
me.
rescue.
He did. He came to not only did he come to the rescue, but he brought me my favorite coffee.
My knight in tinfoil. So, and we all know Bobby, right? But what you just
Perfect day
described
to
was
stay
like,
in Vegas.
yeah, the outfit you described is like he showed up and he was disappointed because you were about 15, 20 years older than you should have been. And but we'll let him slide on that. We all go through tough times. But so he showed up, and we all know Bobby. We all know Bobby for his big heart and his passion, and how loving and caring and giving and empathetic he is. And so I know that's what got you hooked. He was a personality candidate.
Not that day, but
It only gets better.
Yes.
the
You're regretting this decision right now, motherfucker.
well, yeah, he was single for a while for some time. I know why, but anyways, yeah. And our first date, I think, was to Panda Express, and
Well, you went big money.
Yeah, big money.
he wanted to make sure I wasn't out to like get him, and I understand
You
that.
get one entree.
But eventually, yeah, he made me get the Panda Bowl and
Orange chicken.
yeah, and then after that, he kind of opened up. So that's kind of how our love story began.
That is hilarious.
I think it's awesome and it's unique, but it's definitely not going to be a Hallmark movie any fucking time soon.
No, it won't.
Comedy Central, maybe.
Yeah.
That
Bobby
might be.
played by Shane Gillis.
Hey, that'd be funny as hell, dude.
It took him like 2 months to even take me to a restaurant. It was a while. So
2 months?
Understandable.
I was battling demons too. You got to remember that was.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You remember?
I'll give you. Yeah, I battled mine. That's for sure.
So,
but here we are, 10 years later. He takes me
You
to
took a
restaurants all the
chance.
time now.
You took a chance in Vegas. You gambled a little bit, and it paid out.
I gambled
Yeah.
a lot.
and kind of like blackjack, there's hits and misses every once in a while. She gets mad at me a lot, but it works out.
I mean, it's like raising a third son.
You're kind of right. I can't deny that one.
Hey, trust me,
I don't think
I'm
any of us
staying in
can.
good graces. That's why I got the kids out here on the dock and we're fishing today. And as long as nobody drowns, it's a win.
Right?
So the bar is not high there, is what you're saying.
Yeah, just like the sea average.
Yeah, just keep them alive. Take a few pictures.
Yeah. Make sure everybody's pleased.
Yeah, I know my wife's going to watch this. I'm just kidding, babe. They're having a great time. I gave them water.
Wick, you got another question, buddy?
Yes. Well, I don't know where to go from the Panda Express Timberland boot story. Yeah, Lou, we're still recovering from that. So why don't you take this one, Bobby?
Yeah,
I would ask for forgiveness.
I'm still wiping the tears.
I believe me, I pay for it all the time. I still ask for forgiveness right now. But Amber, now that
don't do the MTV.
You've gone through...
We're interviewing Amber.
All right, babe. We've gone through a lot together as far as your law enforcement career, and Steve kind of talked about the struggles as a female. But do you want to share about some of the personal things that you may have struggled with not just the job, because you didn't really struggle with the job. You struggled with kind of handling the job and the home life and how that kind of meshed.
Yeah, I mean, so there was times like there's days where you'll go to work and you'll see things people don't want to see or have never seen. You'll see a murder. You'll see somebody die in the hospital because you followed them on the ambulance. You'll see kids your own age that have unfortunately passed away due to accidents, due to drownings, due to all sorts of things. And unfortunately, those are things that throughout the years I bottled up inside and didn't want to talk to my family about, because when you talk to people about that, it just brings all those emotions back out. And your family, and it could not be just my husband, could be my dad. They'll ask, well, how's your day? Did you have any cool stories? And it's just because they see everything on cops and everything, and you're just like, well, no, I didn't have any cool stories today. I just want to go to bed. I want to decompress, and I just want to move on to the next day, because it just makes it easier to compartmentalize everything. For me, that made it easier to deal with that and put it in the back of my mind, because that just made it easier. And it could be another way for somebody else, but the stories that I wanted to talk about were the funny ones that I saw. Maybe it was somebody that was, super drunk, or,
Those are always funny.
Yeah, it's just those ones to me, like, that made me laugh on the job instead of made me having to hold back tears, are the ones that I would have rather talked about. And those are the issues that I dealt with while on the job. And I didn't realize they were an issue until I got out. And I'm like, well, what am I living for anymore? Not like in a suicidal way, but like, I don't have like this cape anymore. Like, I'm not this superhero. I'm never going to accomplish these great things or help anybody anymore. And now all these other issues are coming out, like, oh my gosh, I saw this. Like, I'm not seeing this every day, and it's not normal. And then all these other issues are resurfacing. So, and then to try to have that come to light, like, okay, maybe that wasn't normal, but at the time it was normal to deal with that for many, many years.
Well, I will say it's okay not to be okay, right? I think we've all kind of been there. I know all of us have, for sure. So, did you transition out of law enforcement in Las Vegas or as part of your move?
So, as part of the move, I came to Raphael one day and I was just like, hey, I can't, for whatever reason, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And more specifically, not to go into too much detail, but like I got pretty hurt on the job and it was pretty bad. I mean, I wasn't like to the point like I got, shot or something, but I got pretty hurt on the job and I just thought to myself like I can't do this anymore. I need to I think this is my time. I think this is my time to go. And I don't want to stay in Vegas. I have been born and raised in Vegas. I need to have a whole change of scenery because every time I drive around a corner of Vegas, whether it's where I was raised, but I pretty much worked the whole valley. I, in the back of my mind, see like, oh, there's been a murder there, or there's been a robbery there, or I've helped a victim there, or I've done something there. And I just thought to myself, like, I think it would be really great to move. I just needed a fresh start. And I asked Raphael, like, what do you think about it? And he was surprisingly really on board. And I knew that he had a career himself with being with school police. And I was like, hey, like, are you open to it? And he's like, yeah. So when the time was right, we moved. And ended up taking a job out here for a little bit with as a civilian with a like a federal police department. So I wasn't like on the line or anything, but I did like federal police department stuff. And even that kind of triggered certain things. And I was like, I need to get out of like policing altogether. Like everything that does has encompassed policing unless I'm dealing with them like just passing by or with cases. I need to get out of like the whole structural part of policing just because I need some time to like decompress from everything. So,
All right. So, was it? Go ahead.
I was gonna say we lost Wick for a little bit. I think he's trying to he lost some service, so I think he's gonna try to log back on here in a few. But I do want to ask about, we talked about moving. You just mentioned it. We moved out to the Maryland area and the DC area. And for guys like Lewis, myself, and Nowicki that have been in the military, we moved around a lot. So the transition portion of that, it's a struggle, but it's not really huge. For you who's moved a couple times with me as a spouse, like, did you find it harder to transition to a different location, coming from leaving your home and coming to a different place?
well, when you had me move to El Paso, Texas, that wasn't the best place I wanted to move.
Probably not the best idea.
So that wasn't a choice. Well, I mean, it was a choice because I chose to move with you, but I'm saying like that's not somewhere I wanted to move. But being as it was Maryland and it's somewhere I wanted to move and somewhere I wanted to go, like it wasn't hard for me because I felt like seeing like because we visited here before, this is somewhere that I knew that my kids were going to have a better education and I knew that I was going to be happy here just like with the environment. Like I'm very big about being out into the, I don't know how you say it, the wilderness or whatever you say. But I like seeing the trees and in Vegas there's nothing but like dirt and palm trees. So having just like a whole complete new scenery wasn't difficult at all. Like I had no adjustment period whatsoever. Um, I mean, it's always hard to like say bye to your family. I can't just go down the street and say hi to them, but there was no adjustment.
That's good. Well, I don't think Raph enjoyed going to El Paso either. So
No, Raph didn't enjoy going to El Paso. It's El
I
Paso,
know.
Texas.
When I ran into you down there, I know you didn't. So because I had to go through there and then to go through school. So yeah.
Wick, welcome
was like
back.
a
I
reunion.
know you had a little bit of issues with your phone, buddy.
Yeah,
You're at the
apparently these
gazebo
things
now.
get too hot and shut off.
Oh, you had it in the sun.
Well, yeah, I was trying to give a good backdrop, like production quality.
No, that's still a good back. You still got it going on. You're good. You're good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, they're still alive.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
All right, Lewis, you got
Not that they're
No,
alive.
you're good. It's just proof that they're alive.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you struggle with any identity issues coming out of law enforcement, seeing how that was pretty much all you knew, and then having to basically go to not experiencing that day-to-day life like ever?
Yeah, I struggled a lot. Even struggle now sometimes, because I don't feel like I don't know. Sometimes you don't feel like you're good enough anymore. You're just trying to make it. I don't know how to explain it, but I just reassure myself that I'm onto something better. But when you're in law enforcement, you just feel like that you're making an impact, you're doing something for the greater good, and I felt like it was my calling to always be in law enforcement. Um, so when I left that, I remember the day that I left, I literally felt like there was a weight off of my shoulders that I can't explain. I went to the same patrol car that I was driving, and I literally just sat by it and I was looking around. The sun was setting, and I just cried for a good 30, 40 seconds. And because I was struggling so much at the time with making the decision, but like at the time, it just felt like it was the right decision. Like I felt like the air was cooler. And I know that sounds cliche, but I just felt like everything was just in the right moment that I was leaving. But then it became like a month later, and I was like, wow, I'm really gone. Like, nobody's calling me, nobody's following up. The people that I've worked with for many, many, many years um, aren't even following up with me. The people that I've risked my life for haven't even said, like, hey, are you okay? Um, and that was a struggle too. And I think I struggle with that to this day. Like, sometimes I want to just hop right back into it, but I know that wouldn't be the best thing for me because, like I said, I felt like law enforcement was my identity for a while, but I know that was just a part of who I was, not my, not who I am.
Wow, gotcha. Okay. Wick?
Yeah, I think it's easy to be identified by what. Can you hear me now?
There it goes. Yeah, I can hear now.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's easy to form an identity or a bond with the job, especially when as I've already said, you had that passion and that drive and motivation to do it. So I don't think that that's ever going to fade for you, but I think it's what keeps you hungry to keep being successful and keep driving on. Especially when you kind of, you're in your job now that you say is the best job in the world. You can reflect back on those hard days that you had on patrol, and they're really gonna, maybe this day ain't so bad here because I've had a lot harder. So again, I mean, hats off to you.
All right, Raph, what you got?
So now that you're in your new position and I know you've been a lot happier, especially because I see you every day. But that transition process now, do you feel like you're in a lot better place now, transition wise? We all have bad days when we get out of our lifestyle that we've lived for 20, 13, 15, 25 plus years, right? And we all have our days, but do you feel like it gets easier or it's kind of a selfish question, but it could be like that sometimes. Is being married to somebody who's actually been through it like me help a little bit because we share a lot of the same struggles?
Mm, yeah, I mean, I do think that it's easier to share, like when we talk about the struggles together. But sometimes our struggles are different. So like I'm trying to navigate what I'm feeling toward to you, and like your struggles are different. So we're trying to talk about two completely different things. And sometimes, I'm trying to be like, don't you know? And then, you're, you try to understand as best as you can. And it's sometimes like completely different. And it's good to be able to have somebody to talk to, especially that's there. Um, and then sometimes, somebody that can relate as best as they can, without fully understanding, but can try to understand as best as they can. And then, like, I'm trying to understand you as best as you can, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But I feel like sometimes there's easy, to your point, there's easy parts of it where I can relate, but I can't fully understand.
So I want to go back real quick to the military spouse piece. So several episodes ago, right, we heard Raf's story and how his transition out of the military was, but as his military spouse, how was that transition for you?
Difficult. There was some major struggles at the time that were on our marriage at the time. I was, he was going through some not so great leadership, in my
Oh
opinion.
yeah, ours too.
Yeah. I think that some of his leadership before, he went to where we went to, I'll put it that way, was really great. And then when we got there, I just had a baby. And at the time, like, he should have had been able to take his required, I don't exactly know what you guys call it in the military, but required time off. And I know that he was a higher NCO, but at the time he should have been able to take the time that he earned off. But he was constantly being pulled into the office, and they then pulled me into the office about 3 weeks postpartum to sit there and say, do I have an issue with my husband being in the military? And I said that,
Really?
yeah, I said that I don't have an issue with
Wow.
my husband being in the military, but what I do have an issue with is when my husband's having his required time off, that he should be able to be with his wife and with his baby. And I
Who
know
was
that,
in it? Who was in the NICU, by the way, at that
yeah,
time?
my son was only had to be in the NICU for 8 days, so he had only been home for like 2 weeks at the time. So you have a wife that's already going through hormonal changes, and a brand new baby that is having some issues at home, and he had plenty of time on the books to take, and they're pulling me into the office and
That
trying,
is crazy.
yeah, to talk to me, asking if I have an issue with my husband being in the military. Of course I don't, but at the same time, like, I need him home for some time. There was nothing critical in this mission going on at the office. So, I mean, there was some definitely questionable leadership going on there.
I'd say so.
Yeah, and I expressed that myself, which they didn't appreciate, because I was nobody. I mean, I was just a military spouse. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all I was. At my goal was, I had already applied to go into the PD, so literally right after that, when he was transitioning out, um I had left, and I was with him when he was transitioning out for a while, and then I went to Vegas, and we were separated for about 6 months.
Mhm.
So he was by himself for a little bit, and it was a little bit difficult because I was down here, down in Vegas, and he was transitioning. But I was in the first steps of that, and it was very hard for him in the beginning because there was no, I think they said, to me, it seemed as if there was, that they were supporting him, but um I don't feel like there was actual support, because in my idea of support isn't just saying you're supporting somebody, it's following through with support and being there for somebody. It's showing up when, somebody's going through a difficult time. It's not just saying it. So um, that's how I felt about that. It's kind of like the group you guys have, that support.
Yes.
So
Well, definitely thank you for sharing that, because we've all heard our stories and our transition stories, but to see it from a different perspective, right? The spouse perspective, and you dealing with the emotional and the financial and mental and everything that goes with it. So, because it's not, we all know being in the military isn't just us, right? It's our support system, being our families, our spouses, and so for you both to go through that, whether you were directly experiencing it, but you were, right? Because you're his support system. And so then he had to become your support system while dealing with his own issues, right? So thank you for sharing that. But I will say I'm glad you guys made your way out to the DC area. I'm sure you heard the story, right, of how we reconnected over
yes, I
a
did.
text message that I thought he was smoking drugs. So,
No,
because
can't
I'm
do that
like,
yet.
no.
I've heard that twice now, like with two of you on the show. So it's quite funny. What so
What else you got, Raf?
Well, first off, Wick, unfortunately, the phone keeps booting him out because it's overheated. So he said he was going to send a video at the end of the show. And I'll give him a call later on. But now we've transitioned out of our service now. What's your goals now? Because you are currently working in it for a big corporation. You work from home, which is fantastic for you, because you've seemed a lot happier. You get more of that work-life balance, right? And on top of that, you're really good at what you do. But now, what's the personal goal for Amber?
personal goals? I got quite a few. Um, so I just want to continue in my company. I'm really happy where I'm at. I don't plan to leave that at all, just because I'm super content with what I'm doing. Um, and then continuing to, I'm not going to say grow my family, because that would,
Oh, oh no!
I knew I would
Please,
get a reaction.
please no! God,
Uh,
God!
what about grow my family with more dogs? Would that make you happy?
God, no!
See, I didn't
We have 4 already.
know.
Oh, same.
See, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to say that either, but just make my the years that I've missed out with my law enforcement career, I would love to just like kind of not make them up, but like just build more memories that weren't there in the beginning. I want to just build memories and go on vacations, and that's what we're doing. We're going on a vacation next month, and we're going out of the country, and we've never done that before.
Nice.
I want to be able to continue those. Even when I was a kid, we weren't able to. I don't think it's because my grandparents never wanted to take me on a vacation. It's just we never had the financial ability to be able to do that. So, um, what's better than ungrateful kids being able to sit in the room and play video games in the United States, take them to another country to play video games in another country. So that's what we're going to do, where they can have video games in another country. So I'm not saying they're ungrateful, but they definitely are a little lazy at times. So that's what
It's the generation.
yeah.
Yeah, my 6-year-old is he loves to travel, but it's like once he's there, watch his tablet, play games. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is just like trying to get my kids to play any type of sport. Like it's just like, oh my gosh, again you're taking me to practice. I'm going to lose my time on my Fortnite or whatever the case is.
It's a daily occurrence.
I'm
It
just
is
like,
a
Yeah.
daily
you're
occurrence.
gonna miss out on Fortnite for 2 hours. It's gonna be there when you get back. Yeah, but you don't understand. I'm gonna get kicked off. I'm like, okay, and like you're gonna go see the outside world. It's amazing. You'll learn some stuff. So it's just teaching my kids a little bit of discipline too. That maybe I should have been around and then it would have changed, but maybe not. I don't know. So
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't think our kids would have survived in our time.
no.
No, I'll tell you right now, they wouldn't have, man. I'll tell you right now,
No.
you put my kids in any kind of situation we were in as kids, and they'd be like, "What is this?"
I used to remember when it would rain and I would look out. My idea was fun was when my grandparents were driving home, like we would go out to dinner or something. I would see the quickest raindrop and see which raindrop would win down the window. And that was my idea of fun. Imagine not having a tablet for these kids now. Like, I'd be like, hey, check out what the quickest raindrop is. They would look at me like I'm crazy. So,
Like, yeah, like what drugs are you smoking?
Uh,
Yeah.
I'll do you one better, man. So check this out. You know, Steve, and even babe, you know how this goes too. But when we were growing up, when we were thirsty and we were playing outside, what did we drink from?
Water hose.
Water hose. My 12-year-old said, "I don't want to drink any water that's not mountain spring water."
mountain spring water. Yeah, mountain spring water.
Well, I will say my son's not that bad. He'll drink faucet water. My wife, on the other hand, absolutely not. If I even attempt to give it to her, it's like I'm trying to poison her.
Well, your son still has 6 years left to grow. Wait till he gets 12,
right?
and
Yes.
it's the Evians and
Yeah.
all the glacier waters and stuff like that.
I mean, in all fairness, my wife grew up in New York, so the faucet water wasn't, the best.
Good point. It's New
Yeah,
York.
so, yeah. But yeah, I remember growing up and we would take road trips for our family vacation, which was usually going to see family.
Yep.
And my dad's idea of fun was playing this alphabet game where we would call out a word or something we saw on a billboard that started with that letter on the alphabet. And the first one to get to Z won the game. And I actually played that with my oldest. My 6-year-old hasn't quite learned how to read everything yet, so I can't quite play with that yet. But it's a pretty good one. But yeah, it's a lot better than the tablet. I'll give you that.
Yeah, the tablet's gotta go.
I know. What else you got, Raph? You got anything else?
I think we pretty much covered everything, man. Like I said, Wix out. Babe, do you wanna say anything before we end the show?
Oh, I'm just I'm glad that speaking about it actually has I think I don't know if it's gotten some good therapy off my chest in a way, but it's been a great opportunity. So I'm glad. I hope you guys get some more um, police officers on here because I think they'll relate to that as well. Because I know the military and the military and the police do have a lot of crossover with mental health is a big one. It's not talked about enough, and I think that's the biggest one for me is you don't know how much that you're holding on to sometimes until either it's too late or until you get out or even when you're in and you don't express it to the people that you're working with. So I think that's one that you guys are doing a good job at.
Well, thank you. And
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for coming on and sharing your stories. It's never easy to be vulnerable, especially when you think about other people watching this because it's not just us. So I definitely say thank you for coming on and sharing your story and for keeping him in line. Right. So, and also for being supportive. Right. Because I know without your support, this wouldn't exist. So thank you for that too. So what final words you got, Raph?
Just to echo what Steve is saying, it's this all started off of an idea I had that I ran by you, and you were like, "Yeah, I think that would work." And then when I ran it by Steve, he said, "Yeah, that'll work." And then I told Nowicki about it, and he was like, "Dude, that's awesome." And the crew that I have on the show is nothing short of amazing, and we all believe in the same thing. And you have until now silently believed in it too. And then when you heard the show, you heard how impactful it could be, and you see a lot growing for it. So I want to say, and I've told you this behind closed doors as well, but thank you so much for being a support system for me, being there for me and being my rock that I need to get through the day, and allowing me to jump on here with my friends and talk some shit every once in a while. So I appreciate that. And thank you for coming on. She was nervous. She was nervous.
You know what though? Thank you for the laughs, because that story was epic. So thank you so much. I think Wick and I were crying. So
Yeah.
so
Well, that's the unhinged version. That's the truth. So, and Rafael knows it. So,
Yeah,
at least
the truth will set you free.
it is. So that's another one that was some therapy for me too, because the family doesn't even know that story. So they think we were walking down the grocery aisle or something. So
and you notice how I sat there and I didn't say anything during that story because I knew how true it was. I wasn't sitting there trying to fight it. I wasn't sitting there going, nope, that's not true.
No correcting.
I just sat there and I was like, yeah, she's right. She's
the
right.
worst part is my family follows us on Facebook, so now they're gonna know the truth. So it's fine.
That's all right. They'll probably be laughing because they're gonna see us laughing.
Yeah, it's fine.
But you know what? You still lasted 10 years so far.
Yeah, so it worked. Yeah, it worked.
And it's going well. It's going strong. Hopefully, we're making it for another 50.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
So
yeah, my 10 years is coming up soon too.
Crazy.
I know, it's time is crazy. So, but again, just to close this out, thank you so much for coming on, being a huge supporter of the show. And for everybody else out there watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, follow us on Facebook, and we're on X and Instagram at Outranked Pod, and on Facebook at the Outrank Podcast. So find us, follow us, like us, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.